Colwyn Bay. For most people, the name brings to mind a classic seaside resort on the beautiful North Wales coast, a place of Victorian promenades, sandy beaches, and happy holiday memories. But if you look a little closer at the headlines, scroll through community Facebook groups, or just listen to the chatter in the cafes, you'll find a very different picture emerging. A picture of a town on edge. You'll hear stories of rising antisocial behaviour, brazen theft, and mindless vandalism. People are getting more and more worried about how safe their own streets feel. Is this the real Colwyn Bay today? Is this town truly in the grip of a crime wave that's chipping away at its community spirit? I'm here to find out what's really going on. I want to get past the rumors and the headlines, speak to the people who are living it, and uncover the truth behind Colwyn Bay's reported crime wave. And it's a story that's a lot more complicated than you might think. To really get a feel for a town, you have to walk its streets. And honestly, walking through Colwyn Bay is an experience of stark contrasts. On one hand, you have this stunning, completely transformed waterfront. Millions of pounds have been poured into it, turning the old, crumbling promenade into something modern and genuinely impressive. It feels open, inviting, and you can see it's drawing people back to the seaside. But then, you walk just a couple of hundred yards inland into the town center, and the whole atmosphere shifts. The story here feels different. You just can't ignore the number of empty shops. To-let signs are everywhere on the high street, and with them comes this undeniable sense of neglect. While there has been some effort to link the town center to the waterfront, it doesn't feel like the benefits have been spread evenly. I've been digging through local reports from the last year, and a pattern starts to show. It's not about huge violent crimes dominating the news. It's more of a constant, low-level hum of disruption. Reports of antisocial behavior, especially with youths, come up again and again. We're talking about nuisance behavior, intimidation, and minor damage that piece by piece just wears down the community's sense of safety. In fact, in July 2025, the government had to launch a Safer Streets scheme right here in Colwyn Bay, promising more police on the streets to tackle antisocial behavior. That kind of intervention doesn't just happen for no reason. It happens because residents and business owners have been shouting from the rooftops that this is a major problem. And it's not just a vague feeling. There have been specific worrying incidents, like a man being jailed in July 2025 for carrying a knife in Old Colwyn and assaulting police, or police having to raid so-called problem addresses after reports of drug use and exploitation. These are the incidents that stick in people's minds. They build a story, and as I walk around, I can see the little physical scars that feed into that story. A bit of graffiti here, a boarded-up window there. It's the classic broken windows theory in action. Small signs of decay, creating an environment where bigger problems feel like they're just waiting to happen. The question is, does this feeling on the ground, this story of decline, actually match the hard data? So, I've walked the streets, I've seen the empty shops, and I've read the headlines. But feelings and headlines aren't always facts. To get to the truth, you have to look at the official crime stats. So I spent a lot of time digging into the police data for Colwyn Bay, and what I found was not what I was expecting. The headlines paint a picture of a town under siege. Some reports have even called Colwyn Bay one of the most dangerous small towns in the county. One analysis from 2025 claimed an overall crime rate of 114 crimes per 1,000 people, supposedly 56% higher than the county average. It pointed to violence and sexual offenses as the most common crime. But when you look at the most recent verified data, that picture just falls apart. According to a detailed postcode analysis, the central Colwyn Bay area actually has an annual crime rate of around 47 crimes per 1,000 residents. That's not a small difference. It's less than half the rate some reports claim. Far from being dangerous, that rate is officially considered low compared to other areas in England and Wales. It's also way lower than the average for the wider Conway area, which sits at a medium rate of around 110 crimes per 1,000 people. So let's be clear. The idea that Colwyn Bay is some kind of statistical crime hotspot is based on the best data we have, simply misleading. Statistically, the town is actually safer than the wider district it's part of. So why does it feel so different? The data gives us a clue. While the overall rate is low, the types of crime being reported are very specific. In a single month, like May 2025, violent crime and antisocial behavior were the biggest categories of reported incidents. And that's the crucial point. The problem isn't a wave of serious major crime. It's a persistent drip, drip, drip of visible, disruptive, quality of life degrading offenses. These are the crimes that make people feel unsafe, even if they aren't statistically likely to be a victim of something major. They see it on their streets, they hear it outside their windows, and it destroys their peace of mind. And police reports back this up. In mid-2025, the Police and Crime Commissioner noted that while total antisocial behaviour incidents were actually down slightly across North Wales, police attendance at these incidents was up. This shows that even if the numbers are a bit better, the problem is still a huge concern for both the public and the police. The numbers tell us Colwyn Bay is relatively safe, but they also tell us that the things that are going wrong are happening right on people's doorsteps. To understand what that feels like, you have to talk to them. If the stats say the town is pretty safe, why does it feel like there's a crime wave? To understand that gap, you have to listen to the people who live and work here. Their stories paint a picture that numbers never could. I spoke to a few of them, and what they had to say was remarkably consistent. I met Sharon, who has run a shop in the town center for over 15 years. For her, the problem isn't violent crime. It's the relentless daily grind of petty stuff that's bleeding her business dry.
It's not like I'm worried someone's going to come in with a gun. It's the shoplifting. It's constant. Small items, but it adds up to thousands a year. It's the groups of kids who hang around outside, not necessarily doing anything violent, but they're loud, they swear, they intimidate my older customers. People will walk up to the door, see the group, and just turn around and walk away. I've had my window cracked twice this year. The police take a report, but what can they do? They're stretched thin. You feel like you're on your own. It's the feeling of helplessness that's the worst part. It makes you wonder, how much longer can I keep this going?
Then there was David, a retired teacher who has lived in Colwyn Bay his whole life. He remembers a very different town, and it's the slow-motion decay of the place he loves that worries him most.
I used to walk my dog through the park late in the evening. I wouldn't dream of it now. It's not that I think I'd be attacked, necessarily, but you see things you never used to see. People openly dealing drugs, discarded needles, the noise at night from kids on bikes, shouting, screaming. It just feels lawless sometimes. The police put out dispersal orders, and it gets quiet for a weekend, but then they're back. Each little thing, the graffiti on the bus shelter, the empty beer cans all over the grass, another shop closing down on Station Road, it's like a little paper cut. One doesn't hurt, but 1,000 of them. You start to bleed. I love this town, but it feels tired. It feels like it's losing its pride.
Finally, I spoke with Chloe, a mother of 2 teenagers. Her view was different again. She wasn't just angry, she was sad. And she thinks the problem starts with something else entirely, a lack of opportunity.
Honestly, what is there for them to do? The youth club closed down years ago. There are no facilities, no places for them to just hang out that don't cost a fortune. So they gather in the park, they gather in the shopping center precinct, they're bored, and when teenagers are bored, they get into trouble. It starts with a bit of shouting, then maybe someone kicks a bin over, then it gets worse. I'm not excusing the behavior, some of it is awful, but I also see a generation of kids being left with nothing. We're pouring money into the promenade to attract tourists, which is great, I suppose. But what are we investing in for the kids who actually live here all year round? If we don't give them something to belong to, they'll form their own groups and find their own entertainment. And we can't be surprised when we don't like what they come up with.
The stories from people like Sharon, David, and Chloe are powerful, aren't they? They're the missing piece of the puzzle. They show that stats just don't capture the full reality of living in a place. It's clear there's a huge disconnect here. Before we explore the reasons behind these issues, if you're finding this interesting and want to see more deep dives like this, take a second to subscribe to the channel. It really helps. And if you're from Colwyn Bay, I especially want to hear from you. Let me know in the comments. Do the official stats match your daily reality? So what's driving all this? If it's not a statistical crime wave, what's causing this visible decline and making people so afraid? The answer isn't one single thing, but a tangled mix of social and economic problems that a lot of seaside towns are facing right now. First, there's the economic reality. Like many coastal towns, Colwyn Bay has struggled since its traditional tourist industry faded. The new waterfront is a bold attempt to fix that, but the town center is still clearly hurting. Those empty shops aren't just ugly. They're a symptom of huge economic pressure. They mean fewer people on the streets, which makes the area feel less vibrant and safe, creating a downward spiral that's incredibly hard to break. Then there's the point Chloe brought up. There's nothing for young people to do. This is a story you hear in towns all over the country. When council budgets get squeezed, youth services are often the first to go. Without structured activities or places to go, teenagers are just left to wander. The antisocial behavior that follows isn't always malicious, at least not at first. Often it just starts with boredom, which then festers and can grow into something more serious. We also can't ignore drugs. While police data doesn't point to an epidemic, there are clear signs of drug-related activity. In March 2025, police targeted problem addresses linked to drug use and exploitation. And where you have drugs, you get crime to pay for them. Shoplifting, petty theft, burglaries. These are exactly the kinds of offenses that people are complaining about. Finally, there's policing. With resources stretched thin everywhere, the focus has shifted to responding to the most serious crimes. That often means fewer officers are available for the kind of visible, on-the-beat patrols that make people feel safe. The Safer Streets initiative is a welcome boost, but it's temporary, and it highlights a bigger problem. When people stop seeing police on their streets, they feel less secure, and it sends a message that no one is tackling the low-level problems, creating a vacuum where things can get worse. It would be very easy to end the story there. A town struggling with a negative image, battling decay and social problems. But that's not the whole picture, because while I was here, listening to all those valid concerns, I also found something else. Signs of a community that's fighting back, and a future that isn't written in stone. The most obvious sign of hope is the waterfront. I mean, the scale of the transformation is staggering. This wasn't just a new coat of paint. It was a massive, multi-million-pound project to create a modern, attractive public space with new sea defenses to protect the town for generations. It has brought new businesses, new jobs, and a new sense of pride to the coastline. It proves that big, ambitious change is possible here. And that ambition isn't just on the seafront. Regeneration plans have been in the works for years, focused on improving the town center and restoring historic buildings. Conwy Council even moved over 750 of its own staff into a new office hub right in the heart of the town, a huge vote of confidence meant to boost the local economy and bring more people in during the day. But beyond the official projects, there's a real community spirit. You see it in the local markets, in the groups working to keep their neighborhoods clean, and in the sheer number of people who, despite all their frustrations, are still deeply passionate about their town. They haven't given up. They are actively campaigning for improvements, from demanding better youth facilities to working with police on safety schemes. The story here isn't one of simple decline. It's a tale of two towns, the revitalized, forward-looking waterfront and the struggling, uncertain town center. The challenge and the opportunity is to bridge that gap, to make sure the energy and investment that transformed the promenade can flow up into the high street and the neighborhoods behind it. So, after all this, is Colwyn Bay in the grip of a crime wave? The simple answer, based on the data, is no. The overall crime rate is low, certainly lower than many nearby areas, and not at a level that would statistically mark it as dangerous. But that answer is deeply unsatisfying, isn't it? It completely ignores the reality for Sharon, for David, and for so many others. It dismisses their very real fear and frustration. The truth is, Colwyn Bay is going through something more complex, maybe even more damaging than a simple crime wave. It's a crisis of perception, fueled by a constant stream of low-level but highly visible antisocial behavior, property crime, and public disorder. It's a death by 1,000 cuts. The residents' fears are valid because their quality of life is being hit. The feeling of safety is just as important as the statistical reality. And right now, for many people here, that feeling is gone. The real story of Colwyn Bay isn't about it being a dangerous town. It's the story of a town at a crossroads, a proud seaside community grappling with huge economic change, complex social issues, and the painful gap between official numbers and the human experience. The question that will define its future is not, is Colwyn Bay dangerous, but rather, what is being done to fix the problems that are undeniably there? And how can we restore people's faith and pride in the town they call home? What do you think is the future for towns like Colwyn Bay? And if you're a local, what solutions do you think would make the biggest difference? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. It's a conversation that needs to be had, not just in North Wales, but all across the country. Thanks for watching.